Okay, so following this instruction, the very first step, you will need to find this Google Sheet. It has all the duties being planned out. I know it's a little bit small. Let me put it up. Okay, too big. Okay, yeah, so these names are being allocated based on the availability you have indicated in the Google Sheet, Google form. For all of you, you are taking care of second weekend. I have not planned out the duty yet because second weekend's calendar is not finalized. We are still opening registration for universities from US to sign up with us. So sometime next week, I think Wednesday latest, I will have this finalized calendar ready. So whatever slots you have signed up, please keep it free for us, okay? Yeah. So, and then what you're going to do next is, okay, you look for your time, like for example, team, your time is here. And then, okay, I'm going to use myself as example. My name is here. And then I look at the Zoom account that I need to sign in to host this session. So they are on the top of the table. And the password is all the way here in this corner, Xiaofo123 with a capital C. This information, again, it's in the Notion article, so you'll be able to find it. So next, when I located my Zoom account, I will need to log into that Zoom account. So let me do that now. I probably need to sign out from, my current personal account and then sign in using the event account. Xiaofo123. Okay. And then you go to left tab webinars, look for the session that you need to start. Go back to the calendar, look at the time. Okay, I'm hosting University of Dundee at 5 p.m. 22nd May, look for the session that is in Zoom. It has all been pre-created. So 22nd May, 5 p.m. Study in Scotland at the University of Dundee. Click. Okay, double check. This is University of Dundee. And before you start this webinar, check the attendees, how many have registered for this session. Because when the college rep logs in, they're going to ask, do you know how many people are joining my session? And then you can let them know that, yeah, I saw, 48 sign up, but then probably usually the attrition rate is 40 to 50%. So, a good number of probably 30 people will turn up for your session. Yep. And after that, you will be able to start this webinar, go into practice mode, okay? I can't do that now because if I start this webinar, I will be kicked out of the current meeting. Just something to note again, each session is 45 minutes, it's not 1 hour, okay? So in the calendar, you see it's 1 hour because it consists of the turnover time for the next session. So you are going to start the session, this is 5 p.m., right? You're going to start 10 minutes before 5 p.m., 4:50, to allow that 10 minutes of practice session with the college reps. The college reps are being briefed to log in 10 minutes in advance to do this test run with you. Some college reps can be super confident. They just log in 1 minute before the time and say, okay, let's go. I know how this thing goes. So yeah, that's fine as well. All right. So then after you start this webinar, what's going to happen?
Can I just clarify? I think you've said that, but so basically the college reps will have already been given the login details, correct?
Correct.
Yes, they are going to sign in using the panelist link.
Yep.
They are not going to log in using Zoom.
And they already have it, and there's nothing that we need to do. We don't need to worry about it. Great.
All right, we'll send them the panelist link 1 day in advance. Make sure they receive it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, okay, so after you start this webinar in practice mode, you will get the college rep to test the Q&A, whether they can locate the Q&A icon and find the window, get them to test screen share, if they can successfully share their presentation, check their audio, check their video. If they want to play back a video, you can get them test at this stage. So I have recorded a Loom video to demonstrate what you need to share, what you need to do at this test run. I've got my friend to help out to pretend to be a college rep. So yeah, we'll just bear with it. Role play. Okay. Okay, it might be a little bit laggy because I'm playing a video in the video, in the meeting, okay?
We're in the matrix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm wearing the same clothes.
This is going to be an interesting one as well, because we will know then how laggy it is over a large distance, which is something that we were talking about.
Correct.
So let us know if it's really laggy, if it's bad. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I will start from here. I'll restart this webinar. Okay, the usual, open Zoom, join with audio. Okay, so now you're seeing this screen with orange bar here that says practice mode. This means attendees won't be able to join this session. If they try to join now, they will see a screen saying that the host hasn't started the session, okay, until you broadcast live. Quick check, is the sound and video okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Is it laggy?
Yep.
It's all right. Okay, I'll continue. But the college reps will be able to sign into this practice mode because they are using a panelist link. So when they have signed in, this 10 minutes is for you to test out share screen, test out Q&A, and show them the chat function. Okay, so now what you're going to do is to just wait for the college rep to join. I'm going to wait for my college rep to join. Okay, let's just wait. Sometimes it can take a while. I've asked someone to pretend to be a college rep so that we can record this Loom instruction video. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Hello. So Nick pretends to be this college rep that will sign into the session. And so usually we'll greet the college rep, say, hi, thank you for joining our event. How are you? Are you okay working from home? You know, just have some small talk. And then, okay, Nick, can I get you to share your screen? Test that if you are able to share your screen. And okay, remember to open your presentation deck on your desktop. So then you will be able to share the presentation. Okay, that looks good. All right. I hope nothing sensitive there. Okay, now after you share screen, Nick, can I get you try to click on the Q&A if you are able to see the Q&A in your navigation bar? Okay, so at this point, Nick actually had some problem locating the Q&A. As a cell phone host, you might need to help them to locate where the Q&A is, because when they are in the share screen mode, right, all the navigation bar is hidden in the green bar. And then you need to basically ask them to hover over the green bar, and then the full navigation bar will appear, okay? If not, you can ask them to temporarily close the share screen and then locate the Q&A window first. In the Zoom. Okay,
He's
are you
lost.
able to find it?
He's totally lost.
So sometimes they need a bit of a guidance. If you see a green bar on your, do you see a Zoom navigation bar? Can you see the Q&A box? Okay, right, so now you can see it. Sometimes they need a bit of help. So you can ask them to hover over the green bar to call out the navigation and then check the Q&A. This is important because all the questions will be shown here. They need to know where to find the questions so that, you know, they can answer them during the Q&A segment. Okay, now you can also tell Nick that, you know, hi, Nick. I will be sending you reminder messages here. So when it's 30-minute mark, you can tell him that 15 minutes left. Please start Q&A. Or when it's 5 minutes left, you can tell him again. Please wrap up.
Wen, can I pause there? Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
So essentially reps are preparing for roughly a 30-minute presentation followed by 15-minute questions. Is that kind of the directions they've been given?
Yes, they have also
Roughly.
given them the option to cut their presentation shorter, maybe
Just do
20
Q&A.
to 30 minutes, and
Okay.
then leave the last segment for Q&A.
Okay,
That's it.
great.
They may ask you that at the beginning as well.
Okay.
Especially if it's going to be a popular session and you know it's going to be a popular session, then yeah, definitely try and encourage them to keep the presentation short and longer for Q&A. The other thing that is a definite must to share is that some of them will not be paying attention to the warnings or the heads up that we're giving them over time. So you may on occasion have to step in. So that there might be times where it's coming really close to the end of the session, or they've got 5 minutes left and they haven't even started the Q&A part, where you have to sort of jump in and say, "Hi, there's only 5 minutes left. Let's start the Q&A," or whatever. Or again, they've run over their time, and you have to find a spot to jump in and say, "Okay, thanks everyone. We're going to have to wrap up here," and then thank the speaker or whatever else, and then force the close there, because we've got to keep to the timeline.
And you can also, if you see that a lot of questions are not being answered, you can get the college rep to share their email address in the chat box, and then say that attendees, you can write in to ask questions. And on the reverse side, if there's no question, then of course you don't have to send this reminder, just let them carry on with the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you feel inclined, and you feel comfortable and confident enough to do it. For example, last time, if they didn't have many questions or they had no questions, sometimes I would jump in and ask them some questions, and that would then spur on some of the students to ask some as well. Any FaceTime we've got on there is good for us as well. Or if you've got a bit of time beforehand as well, you can ask them for some frequently asked questions. Some of them will have them pre-prepared, or they can just type a few. And then you can either send in those questions to prompt the students to give questions, or again, jump in and ask those questions to the rep as well. So it depends how confident you are in doing that. I think most people are within CAlpha, which is great. But yeah, if you've got that time, that's a cool thing to do as well.
Okay.
Have you found that the reps were comfortable sharing their information, or like not comfortable with that, they were often sharing their information, their direct contact information?
Yeah. Yeah,
because
that's great. Yeah.
Largely because, especially with universities that have multiple reps across multiple different regions.
Yeah.
I think the last 3 or 4 demos I've done, the same question was like,
yeah.
"Oh, are you going? Are people on the university fair going to get the contact information for their direct rep?"
Right.
And that's something they'd have to ask somebody else.
That's a really good point, actually, John. Yeah, to go into. First things first, at the beginning, one thing that, and actually, I'm really glad that you mentioned that. One thing to try to do when you're having that conversation at the beginning is remind them that students are coming from all over the place to the session as well. And so that, as much as they may have their own agenda, we had some of them going, "Oh, I don't know anything about that. I'm not the rep for that area." That's not the impression that we really want them to be giving. Well, of course they can say, "I'm the rep for this area, but I'll definitely get you in touch with the right person." So try and encourage them to do that. It's something that I'll be including when I'm speaking to them as well at the beginning. So I'll put something in the group over that actually, just to try and get people to prompt them, because some of them are very single-minded over, "This is my region. I'm just going to speak. If I get questions, I don't know." Well, they might not know much, but we have our network. We've got to take care of the network, and we obviously don't want the students to feel like, "Oh my gosh, I can't communicate with anyone." But yeah, the idea being that we encourage them to share their details, and hopefully that they could disseminate to the right places. If for those that are not sponsors, they're not going to get the lists, although a lot of them will sponsor post-fair. So obviously, the better the experience we give them, the more likely they are to sponsor post-fair. But yeah, basically, they can share their details. Encourage them that they do share, if they get questions from people from other regions, they do share that with their colleagues, and not just be focused on their region as well. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That's something that we need to sort of bring to their attention, that for the US side, It's not just going to be US students coming, it's going to be majority, but yeah, we've got a whole bunch of Canadian schools joining, we've got a whole bunch of other schools joining, you know, that the time zone, especially if it's the beginning or the end of the day, you know, you're going to get students from elsewhere in the world. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe that'll just wind up being one of my, like, you know, pre-session questions.
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
region they
Exactly.
work
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. I'll pop some in this group. I actually have added everyone onto the fair event team group already and shared a couple of things that you need to take a look at, the contingency plans and stuff on there. Again, just to make sure that everyone can see it. And I'll add something on there about that just to remind people as well. Yeah. Cool. All right, Wenwen. Over to you.
Okay, I will carry on with the last bit of the video regarding the chat setting. Okay.
So this will be the way you can communicate with your college rep during the session. And the final thing I want to note is this will also allow you to do some chat settings. So during our college briefings, some college reps prefer us to disable chat. They don't want attendees to be able to chat among themselves during the session. So then you can check with the college rep, hey, do you want me to disable chat for you? And then you can make the selection. The attendees will not be able to chat with anyone. Then they can only use the Q&A box to ask questions. Or you can allow the attendees to only chat with panelists. This is good because in case that the attendees are not able to hear the panelists, they can at least notify the speaker, right? And then the next function is all panelists and attendees. So yeah, it's up to the college rep's preference.
Okay, so in the Notion article, we have kind of make it default that the setting will be set to enable chat to all panelists, allow attendees to chat with all panelists, so they can't talk among themselves, but they can notify panelists if they have any comment or feedback. But we will always direct them to ask the questions in Q&A, because it can then generate a Q&A report to be downloaded at the end of the session. If you're noticing a lot of them are asking in the chat box, you can type in the message saying that please ask in Q&A. If that still happens, I think you can control it to close the chat box if they keep asking questions in the chat box. So you can, you know, change the setting anytime. So for keynote sessions, I know Kartik, you are here, so I just want to stress again, this is the setting that you will set. For keynote sessions, please set it to no chatting. Okay, so everything strictly go to the Q&A. Final thing that I want to highlight is, okay, so I mean, we realize this time around a lot of the hosts will be conducting this session in your home. Maybe your internet is not stable. What if you drop off as a host halfway, right? So the solution is the moment the college rep signs in, so you look at Nick, and then if you hover over Nick's name, right, click more, you can assign him as a co-host. So once you assign one of the college reps as co-host, even if yourself as a host drop off from the session, it's okay, the session can carry on. But if there is only one host and the rest are just panelists, the moment your internet is down, the session is gone. Okay, so that is very important. It's also in the Notion article. I've highlighted it in red. I hope you will not miss it. Okay, I think that is all that, you know, in terms of process and the flow and everything, again, can be found in the Notion article. And we also have a contingency plan. Okay, let me talk a bit about the contingency plan now. Since I have everyone here, share screen. Okay, we have prepared a few slides as a contingency. Everybody can see my screen, right? Okay, so we have prepared these holding slides. Again, the links are in the Notion article. If the college rep is not showing up or, you know, halfway breaking off, you can put up this apologies message saying that there's a technical issue and please hold on for 2 to 3 minutes. They will get back. Sometimes they do get back. I think in March, everybody got back, even, you know, the 2 to 3 minutes. But sometimes if they don't, then you flash out another slide. You wait about 5 minutes. If there's no sound, no sight, then put up this slide and ask the attendees to kindly just check out other sessions happening. We have as many as 10 concurrent sessions going on. And in case of no show, you can then pull up this slide to notify the attendees that the speaker has canceled the session. Okay, and one more thing that we are doing is that we are sending this opening slide to all the universities, and we are encouraging them to put as the opening slide in their presentation. But if they don't do it, there's no way we can sort of enforce it as well. So during the start of the session, you will open it to say that, hi everyone, welcome to Salesforce Online University Fair. Just a few housekeeping rules. If you have questions, please type in the Q&A box, and the session will be recorded and shared with you for a period of 60 days after the event. And so, yeah, and then you will hand over the session to the college rep. Again, what I'm saying now is also in Notion article. Kev has written a script for this, so you can just use it as a reference.
You don't have to stick to it precisely. It's just there as a reference guide. Anything, be yourself. Build some relationships with the reps in that 10 minutes. Although it's not a long time, but it gives a great impression. We are moving very rapidly, for the sake of everyone on the call, towards building up the college side of the company. So there's a lot of value in us building relationships with the college reps as we move towards things for, as example, direct application relationships with them, and sort of monetizing on that and building up other functionality. So the more relationships, the better impression, the better for us as an organization. So that's a valuable thing as well. So yeah, seize that opportunity. But it's great, and we're going to be showing those videos. We're going to have those videos up on the site. So again, if it's got us in there with our holding slide at the beginning and us introducing it, then that's great material for us to have as well. So that's cool. Big things to remember are that, crazy as it may sound, Wenwen and I will basically be awake all night. So we'll be available for the US time zone as well. So we're here with extra laptops, both of us, to be assisting. So if there's any issues with your internet, if there's any issues with the speakers, we'll be around to help out with that. So that is our role through it. So anything you need, you can use this channel. You'll see in the contingency plan that we've shared mobile numbers. So ideally, if you need to get orders through that and you haven't got WhatsApp, it would be great if you did have it, just because we're not really tuned to be checking necessarily SMSs. Whereas WhatsApp also allows you to give us a call if you need to as well. So that's also cool if you can do that too. Yeah, I think that's the main things.
And I think everyone here except Franco and Tim, you are hosting the US weekend. So you do have more time to get yourself prepared. And after the first weekend, we probably will be able to share more tips. And yeah.
And actually, I on my Zoom account, I actually already have webinar because I got it in the fall when we were rolling out CDocs, and we did those a couple times a week. So for the US team, if you want, I can probably look at setting up a test so that we can kind of, like Wenwen did in that Loom, so that we could kind of do our own test. I just know sometimes practicing and doing it yourself first. So I'd be happy to help coordinate some of that if that makes people feel a bit more comfortable. And we could also test out those slides, right? We can play around with like, oh no, something happened with Jen, like as a presenter. I don't know. I'm happy to coordinate with that with you all.
Great, Jen. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And actually we have a star host here. That's Franco. Franco, do you want to share your experience? Because we received really, really good feedback from, college reps about Franco writing. So Franco, do you want to share?
Really, I think it was only Panitha. Panitha was really sweet, so I think it was all her, not me. But I think that session went sort of crazy with experience because we had kids chatting with each other. Like what Wenwen said, my ears went up because I was going crazy because kids were chatting with each other, and I'm like, I'm sending her time messages, and she's not seeing it.
Yeah.
So luckily, before the session, when I was briefing her about the timing, she said, okay, I have the habit of going over time, and I might go in the flow and not look at your chat. So let me also set an alarm on my phone. So that was a savior. So she set an alarm on her phone. She was on time. And I think that's mainly the timing bit is stressful. And as Glenn mentioned, your questions, you look at the questions, and then I think you can ping the person and say, okay, you have 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Only one thing that I panicked with is what happens if the rep doesn't join. Like the CAlpha rep, like we joined 10 minutes before, and right up to 3 minutes before the session, the rep didn't join. So I didn't know, okay, who am I meant to reach out? And is the rep going to come, not come? Like, what am I meant to do?
Right.
So
right.
I think that was one stressful bit, but otherwise it was easy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, hopefully we've got that covered, and everyone's clear on what to do for that. Because, as I say, the reason why 11 and I will be awake and with laptops is to jump in and be calling the reps if needed. If your internet goes down, that we can jump in and host that session for you. Yeah. So we'll be around to do all of that.
Yeah, just to add on to Franco's point that it can be really stressful when the reps don't turn up, for the practice session. It happened in last March Fair. NYU joined 2 minutes late, and we didn't test anything. The college rep was sharing his desktop instead of the presentation, so attendees could see everything on the desktop. And then he couldn't find the Q&A box, and they had 900 questions. Can you imagine? So, but Dee hosted that session, so Dee stepped in and then, halfway say that, hey, you need to look at the questions. Can you find a chat box? And then he was like, oh, where? So we can troubleshoot on the spot. It's fine. Yeah. So we are doing our best to, send daily reminders to the college reps to say that you have a session coming up. But if they really no show, it's like in an actual event, sometimes they start in traffic jam, last minute you suddenly fall sick or something. That could happen. So always have the holding slides ready, and then at least you can notify the attendees that, the speaker is not here. So please explore other events happening at the same time. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I just want to share that Wen, you're amazing, and I think that you've done such a good job in putting all of this together for us. I know that with the March fairs, we also heard just wonderful feedback from the universities, especially with the session that you did. And I'll tell you that I was just messaging with Rohan, and he also said that you're absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for thinking about all of this and trying to make it easy for us and for the college reps.
Thank you, Jed. Thank you. Win-win. Yeah, good job. Yeah. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Really quick, one quick question. If the rep doesn't show, how long are we meant to leave those slides up? Are we meant to just leave it for the full 45 minutes and, sit there and let the webinar be open? Are we meant to leave it for like 10? Like, what's the protocol on that?
Okay, you can find this information in the contingency plan. But what is set is that if they are not here at 5-minute mark, you can switch on to, oh my God, it's a cat. Okay, I got distracted. So at 5-minute mark, you can put up the slide saying that due to emergency, this session is cancelled, but leave that slide on for probably another 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can close the session. Meow.
Tim, you're muted.
Yeah.
She keeps me capture points if you can run the session for the rep. So what we want you to do is go onto our website and just start going through the whole spiel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just make it up.
But if we do that, Glenn, we're sending them a bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe you can start just talking about cell phone. Introduce cell phone college search on cell phone.
Just start doing an access demo or something.
Just start talking about cats or any of your hobbies.
Or REA's hair, it's Tim's eyes, any of those weapon flippers. The list goes on.
Love it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, just
Zoom
another
photo.
one, quickly, a special thank you to any of the team that are doing the international session as well. I did note that there are some people doing some sessions in the international side. So obviously out of hours for you guys as well. So thank you so much. It's so helpful. Like that is an intense 3 days we've got coming up for the international side, especially. yeah, a number of sessions is just ridiculous. How many is it on Friday? On just one day? Is it like 85 or something? One?
Yeah, 80 plus.
Just
Yeah.
on Friday?
I want to give special thanks to Kartik and Jing Kai on helping out with a lot of sessions. Jing Kai single-handedly created almost 200 over sessions, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then now we're dealing with a lot of changes that the college reps want to add speakers, want to change title, want to change write-up. Yeah, so hang in there.
You got a shout out. I was talking to some other counselors, and CIS is trying to do something virtually as well.
Yeah.
And someone says, well, just do what CIALFO did. And so you're starting to see that. And then some of the panelists we're getting are just like, they just cannot believe the amount of students, the way it looks, just how fast it's going and how well it's received. So congratulations on that. It's really an undertaking and really is showing well.
Yeah, to echo that, I mean, obviously, as most of you guys know, I spend my days speaking to, sometimes hundreds of reps across a 24-hour period, and counsellors too about fairs. Obviously, we're getting lots of requests for us to be putting on those fairs. I've already talked to, many of them, and they're saying exactly the same things Tim said there, like the perception